السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله. أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله. حي على الصلاة. حي على الصلاة. حي على الفلاح. حي على الفلاح. الله أكبر الله أكبر. لا إله إلا الله.
إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. من يهد الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له. وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وسلم. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء، واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا. Indeed, all thanks is to Allah. We seek refuge in Him and we seek His forgiveness. We seek refuge in Allah from the evil of our own selves and the evil of our actions. For indeed, whomsoever Allah Azza wa Jal guides to the will of Islam, no one can misguide. And whoever Allah misguides away from Islam, no one can guide. And I stand before you and I bear witness that there is no deity, there is no Lord, there is no Ilah except Allah Azza wa Jal. And I stand before you and I bear witness that the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is the last and final messenger and the seal of all prophethood. O you who believe, be God conscious of Allah as is His due, and do not die unless you are in the state of Islam. Be God conscious of a Lord who created you from one soul, and from that soul many men and many women, and be mindful of Allah in whose names you appeal to one another and honor family ties. Indeed, Allah is ever over you an observer, and He is a watcher. We live in a time where it has become difficult to distinguish truth from falsehood, where falsehood or false news spreads 6 times faster than the truth. We live in a time where falsehood seems like the truth and truth seems like falsehood. Everyone subjected to their own opinion. Our own president, completely one-sided. Where it may seem that America is one-sided, and it begins to feel loneliness. It begins to feel lonely. And when we as Muslims try to speak about it, try to talk about it, try to complain about it, influencers and reporters are now shadow banned. يريدون ليطفئوا نور الله بأفواههم والله متم نوره ولو كره الكافرون. They wish to extinguish Allah's light with their mouths, but Allah will certainly perfect His light even to the dismay of the disbelievers. We see everything that is happening on the news to our brothers and sisters in Palestine. Fields littered with dead bodies. A father picking up the pieces of his son in a bag. Hospitals being bombed, turned to mass graveyards. Strike that hospital, Allah had already sent a battalion of angels to receive those that were martyred. That Allah had already sent a battalion of angels with perfumed shroods and glad tidings of eternal bliss. Eternal bliss that will make them forget all the pain that they have suffered in this world. While we stare at the lifeless bodies, we are unaware of how truly alive they are. How Allah has taken them under His mercy. بل أحياء عند ربهم يرزقون. بل أحياء ولكن لا تشعرون. They are alive عند ربهم, with Allah. Allah is taking care of them. What an honor, what a position. The musibah has even reached us here in the United States, where a child is killed by his landlord for his mere ethnicity of being Palestinian. And it will be that same child that will be asked on Yawm al-Qiyamah, بِأَيِّ ذَنْبٍ قُتِلَتْ, for what crime did you commit? For what crime did you do to be put to death? Had the skin color of this child been black, America wouldn't have been so silent. Had the one who killed that child been Muslim, wal-'ayadu billah, America wouldn't have been so silent. But we watch as the world is a bystander as we witness genocide with our very eyes. When we look at the seerah of the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, the battle of Khandaq, the battle of the trench, we see a similar situation to that which we are in now, where the Muslims were surrounded, no way in, no way out, a siege. On the midst of hunger, to the point where the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ tied a rock around his stomach to lessen the pain that he was in, to lessen the hunger. 10,000 soldiers waited on the other side of the trench. The Muslims were in a siege for a month. I want you to imagine for a mere second, a siege for a month. Your food is running out. Your water is running out. You have to watch for every second of every minute, to be on the watch out, to be on alert, to make sure that they don't cross the trench. And it was at this point that the hypocrites amongst the Muslims said to the believers, إِنَّ النَّاسَ قَدْ جَمَعُوا لَكُمْ فَاخْشَوْهُمْ. Your enemies have mobilized their forces against you, so fear them. That this is it. This is your end. You have no way in, no way out. Your food, your resources are running out. But did this decrease the faith of the Muslims? Quite the contrary. فَزَادَهُمْ إِيمَانًا وَقَالُوا حَسْبُنَا اللَّهُ وَنِعْمَ الْوَكِيلُ. The warning only made them grow stronger in faith, and they replied, Allah alone is sufficient as an aid for us, and He is the best protector. It was at this point that the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ raised his hands. He called upon Allah Azza wa Jal, the true sustainer, the true provider. When he says, Allahumma munzil al-kitab, sari al-hisab, ihzim al-ahzab, ihzimhum wa zalzilhum. O Allah, sender of the book, and quick in account, we beseech you to defeat the Confederates. And what was the result of this dua? What was this result of the call that the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ had made? That Allah alone took it upon Himself to defeat this army. An army of 10,000 soldiers, 10,000 men, gone, wiped off the face of the earth, never to be seen. When we see what is going on with our brothers and sisters in Palestine, we are inspired because time and time again, the Palestinians have shown us that odds don't matter, that the numbers doesn't matter. When Allah Azza wa Jalla is by your side, you have already been granted victory, both in this life and the next. It will be said to the man that was killed in the way of Allah, قِيلَ ادْخُلِ الْجَنَّةِ. It will be said to him, enter paradise. قَالَ يَا لَيْتَ قَوْمِي يَعْلَمُونَ. If only my people had known, بِمَا غَفَرَ لِي رَبِّي وَجَعَلَنِي مِنَ الْمُكْرَمِينَ, for what my Lord has forgiven me and made me honorable. We are unaware. We are unaware what awaits yet to be those who are yet to be martyred and those who have already become one. We were told in the Sahih Hadith by the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, narrated by Anas ibn Malik, that the martyrs, on seeing the superiority of martyrdom, would like to come back to the world and be killed again in the way of Allah Azza wa Jal. That when they finally reach Allah Azza wa Jal, when they finally see what Allah Azza wa Jal has prepared for them, their only wish would be to come back to this world so that they can experience it again, so that they can go through it again. To those that think that Palestine is a losing battle, Palestine is not a losing battle. Palestine will win. And Allah Azza wa Jal will see the decree, His decree through. He will see His decree prosper. We are certain of this, as we are certain about our faith, about our iman. Why? وَمَا النَّصْرُ إِلَّا مِنْ عِنْدِ اللَّهِ. And victory is from no one but Allah. When is this victory? أَلَا إِنَّ نَصْرَ اللَّهِ قَرِيبٌ. Indeed, the victory of Allah is close. We ask Allah Azza wa Jal to give us victory against those who are oppressors. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم فاستغفروه إنه هو الغفور الرحيم. Bismillah wa salatu wa salam ala Rasulillah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. So inshallah, just a couple quick announcements. The nominations for Board of Director candidates opens today and will end next week on Friday, October 27th. The election is approaching fast, so please sign up on our ICF website for both membership and to vote. We also have our information here on the highlighted piece of paper. Additionally, ICF is holding homeschooling information session for K-12 students under the leadership of Virginia teachers on October 29th at 2 p.m. If you or you know someone who is interested, please join us, inshallah. We have our Young Muslim meeting on this Saturday after Maghrib. We have our continuing Get to Know Surah Al-Kahf on Saturdays after Isha. And we have our new halaqah series, Life After Death, every Friday after Salat al-Isha. That is what happens when we die, what happens when we are put into our grave, because that is when the race starts. That's when the journey of the hereafter begins. Lastly, we have our Friday New Muslim class from 4 to 5 p.m. every Friday, inshallah. And please continue your donations for the expansion of the masjid. Jazakumullahu khairan. We live in a time, my dear brothers and sisters, where the children of Israel have become the mere Pharaoh that they have once feared. Have they become the Pharaoh that they once feared long ago? But no matter the steps that Pharaoh took, he could not escape the decree of Allah Azza wa Jal. In fact, it was the very steps that Fir'aun took to try to escape the decree of Allah that which led to the steps of his own destruction. The child that he raised under his own roof would become the child that would overthrow him years to come. We have faith in Allah Azza wa Jal that every step that they take, every bombing that they send will be a step to their own destruction, will be a step to their own misfortune, and will be a step to the achievement of Allah Azza wa Jal's decree and to the achievement of the victory of the oppressed over the oppressor. Because anyone who takes a soul unjustly is as if they killed all of humanity, Muslim or not Muslim. And it is upon us that when we see these tragedies, when we see these vulgarities, that we are amongst those that Allah Azza wa Jalla has described when He says, الَّذِينَ إِذَا أَصَابَتْهُمْ مُصِيبَةٌ قَالُوا إِنَّا لِلَّهِ وَإِنَّا إِلَيْهِ رَاجِعُونَ. That those who are struck with disaster surely say, surely to Allah we belong and to Him we all shall return. Why is this statement so profound? Why is this such an amazing statement? Because it is showing us the reality of life in real time. That it was never about the flesh of our bodies, for all of us will surely perish. All of us will surely die. Rather, it was to answer the question, to address the statement that if I'm going to die, if the end is near, what have I prepared for it? What have I prepared for my grave? Now is the time to be on the right side of history. This is not politics. This is not Arab versus non-Arab. This is not a mere lip service. This is humanity. That if you are a mere human, you stand with justice. If you are a mere human, you stand against injustice. If you can stop oppression with your hand, then do so. If you can stop oppression by speaking up, by speaking about it, by speaking against it, then do so. And if you can't do that, then hate it with your heart, just as the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ had told us. And I'll leave you with this last piece of advice. That when we see everything going on in the world, when we see the oppression going on against our brothers and sisters in Palestine, when our blood begins to boil, when our hearts become hard and soft, most of us may experience burnout, and this is not the best strategy. Ask yourself, how much is the outside world affecting my personal life? Are you missing deadlines? Are you losing your job? or you're failing your classes, we need to make sure that we are balancing our emotional capacity to pace yourselves, to know when enough is enough. You're not a traitor, you're human. Just as you pace yourself from worship by sleeping to rejuvenate your strength, to know when enough is enough, to pace yourself by what you take in so that you can rejuvenate your strength and come back stronger. Do not let the enemy overseas affect your personal life. Instead of spending hours watching the same news with the same information, use that time, the same time, if not more, praying for your brothers and sisters who are being oppressed, because that's what's going to help them, not your grief, not your sorrow. We ask Allah Azza wa Jal to pour upon us patience and plant firmly our feet. We ask Allah to give us victory over this believing people. We ask Allah to help the Muslims who are in need in Palestine, in China, in Syria, in Kashmir, in Afghanistan, and all around the world. Allahumma munzil al-kitab, sari' al-hisab, ihzimhum wa zalzilhum. We ask Allah to destroy our enemies and reunite us with those that we have lost in the eternal bliss of paradise. Ibadallah, inna Allah yamuru bil-adli wal-ihsani wa ita'i dhil qurba وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون فاذكروا الله العظيم يذكركم واشكروه يزدكم واستغفروه يغفر لكم واتقوه يجعل لكم من أمركم مخرجا وأقم الصلاة.